All right. So, Zach, it's been like about how long of trying to get this finally going? Like, when did I text you about
It's
starting
been a
this?
long time. I'll take the blame. I'll take the blame.
No, no, no,
But
no, no, no.
I'll
There's
take the blame.
nah. We'll 50-50 this.
Okay, fine.
We've
50-50, even split.
okay. Well, if you don't know, like I forgot to tell you this. We were talking before. It's been 6 years since that first attempt at a podcast. You remember the two podcasts that we released back in the
It's
day?
been 6 years.
It was 2019 February.
Man, we're old.
We are beyond old, but
Well, we're pre-COVID.
we are pre-COVID. Yeah. There's people that were born after COVID. Think about everything they missed out on.
Dude, there's people that were born. My little cousin that was born in like 2009. That's like 16 now.
That's yeah.
Yeah, dude, we're getting
Jack's a
old.
senior in high school.
Oh, dude, and I know we're not old, but also like
We're old.
yeah, we're kind of old. And then
My
there's
knees are starting to hurt.
40-year-olds. If there are any 40-year-olds listening to this, hi, welcome in.
Yeah. Well,
Hustle and
welcome to
effort.
Hustle and Effort.
Yeah, I'm Zach Fletcher. That's Sam Sodergren.
Sam Sonnegan.
40-year-olds are probably like, you guys need to shut up because
Please
you
shut
haven't
up.
even hit it.
You'll figure out what old
You're the
feels
prime
like.
of your lives.
But yeah, welcome to the Hustle and Effort podcast. Me and Zach have been talking about starting a podcast. Nothing like specific, but it's definitely going to be a sports podcast because that is basically what both of our lives look like because we are pretty mega sports fans. I'm from
Literally.
Tuscaloosa. He's from Nashville. So we kind of bounce back and forth. We're both Alabama football fans. He's Tennessee Titans football fan. Yeah. I mean, we got a lot of areas to dip into. So I don't know. What you thinking?
More Alabama basketball fan because football.
And yeah, all right, yeah. But before we
We
get
can
to
dive
there,
on that in a later episode, but football.
absolutely. And we can talk about it today with the game on Saturday. I mean, that's a big matchup. Like
It's the biggest game in Iron Bowl basketball history. You make the case Iron Bowl
just
football is the
Iron
best.
Bowl history at this point.
Yeah. Now, it didn't make sense. I don't know if you watched the Alabama Texas broadcast the other night. It didn't make
Mm-mm.
sense that they were hyping up the Auburn Alabama basketball game. Granted, Auburn's not in the game; it's Alabama. And they randomly show the kick six.
Yeah.
Then
I
we
mean,
caught a stray on that one, but
has
thank
nothing to
you.
do with Bama or Auburn basketball, but I guess it is the
No.
rivalry. And it's kind of a cool thing to see. Like, I mean, obviously Alabama, Auburn is something you think about with football, but I feel like this is like the first year where it's like, oh, this is a big time basketball matchup. I mean, obviously,
It's been building for a while. I mean, the hires of Bruce Pearl, which I love Bruce Pearl because he used to coach at
no, Bruce is
Tennessee.
great.
Have a lot of respect for him back in the Lofton days at Tennessee, and he helped build that program to
Mm-hmm.
almost to level where it is now. Rick Barnes is taking it to another level, but he everywhere he goes, it's good. He's built Auburn back up, and then obviously Alabama getting Nate Oates and the job he's done at Alabama. I mean, you can already say he's people love Wimp Sanderson, but Nate Oates is already the greatest coach in Alabama basketball
Yeah,
history.
I don't think that's hard to debate. And what I like is like to me, Bruce Pearl and Nate Oates are very similar coaches. Like to me, they like running and gunning, shooting those threes, and like you can just see the passion out of both of them. They just have very similar play styles in
They
terms of how they
score.
coach.
I'm with you. They score, but it's physical. It's going to be a
It's very
physical,
physical. It's gonna be a physical matchup.
chippy game. I remember from side note, I only mention this probably twice every podcast, but we worked the SEC tournament last year.
Maybe 5 times every podcast, and we're gonna get to that too.
But
Because
we'll get to that. We'll get to that too. Plenty of stories. But Auburn, even last year with Broom, and I know they had Katie Johnson last year
yeah,
and Chad Baker Mazar, but I mean, they are confident in themselves. They
absolutely
have a swagger and a confidence where they're not scared of anybody. And they proved it this year. I mean, it took till what, Saturday for them to lose their first SEC game.
yeah,
So it's gonna be, I mean, the SEC is a wild, wild west, but this is going to be such a good game on Saturday. And the crazy thing is
agreed.
they still play again later in the season.
Oh yeah, to
This isn't
me,
it.
to me, like this could be me being a biased Alabama fan, but to me, this is
I'll keep
Alabama.
you in check. I'll
To
keep
me,
you in
this
check.
is Alabama's game to lose. I think they can 100% decide or control if they win or lose this game. And to me, the key is turnovers. If you look at every game Alabama has lost this season, their turnovers have been horrendous. But if they can keep the turnovers limited to about 12 or under, I think they have the better shot at winning this game. And obviously, they're going to have to knock down outside shots. To me, that's always been the key for Alabama basketball. It's been the key for them for years. What do they shoot from three? And if they can stay around that 35 to 40% from three mark, I think this is their game to win, especially at home with their own crowd behind them.
The home crowd in this is big. I It's one of those things where I obviously don't think Auburn's peaked yet. I still think they have room to grow, but I definitely think Alabama hasn't peaked yet. I think
No, I think we're
they've
further from
lost,
our
they've
peak
beaten
than
some
Auburn
great
is.
teams, but statistically, this is not even close to their best year shooting from three, which Nate Oates and analytics, they're always going to shoot threes and they're always going to shoot layups.
Oh
You
yeah.
can make the case defensively, this isn't the strongest squad that they've had.
No, I think you could look back to a Herb Jones team where they had some lockdown defenders on their team. So
They're right now turning the ball over on over 70% of their possessions. Like the turnovers are the one thing that's, I know it comes with the style of offense, but the turnovers are the thing right now that has me personally worried about this team is because it's something that they haven't been able to keep in check all year.
yeah. And I
And
think that like as much as I know Alabama loves to run and gun and get shots up quick, I think this might be a game where they want to kind of slow the pace down a little bit. I think that would work in their favor if they would use 20 to
oh,
25
you know
seconds
that's
of
not
that.
going to happen, Sam.
I
Come on.
know it's not, but I think it would help them if they would drain some clock, run it for about 20 to 25 seconds, and really look for the best shot. Because I think that would limit their turnovers and it would give them better open three opportunities. But I know it's not going to happen. They have not played a game like that all year. So
Well, it's just a matter too. I mean, I feel like Alabama roster wise probably has the better overall squad just because you
agreed.
don't know who is going to show up. I mean, the Texas game, Reitzel had, the most points he's ever scored. With the guards we have, you have a chance of, three, even four of them going off in one night. I mean, Grant Nelson had four shots last game.
Yeah.
And the way he's been playing this season has been amazing. There's just so much depth that Alabama has that if they can get it together consistently, it's going to be tough to beat. But they haven't. What's crazy, like I said, is they haven't fully put it all together yet, especially against the top of the SEC. Like the schedule towards the end gets really, really tough.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
that's where you'll get really battle tested on what this team can be. They play SEC top to bottom, it's tough. But you start going into you play Auburn twice, you play at Tennessee, you still play Kentucky again, you play Florida still. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're still fighting the heavyweights in the SEC. And it
Yeah.
starts Saturday. I mean, they got to figure out Nelson and Cliff Amore how you're going to handle Janai Broome because he's been playing outstanding.
Yeah.
Got to figure out the guards with Pettiford and Kelly and Denver Jones over there at Auburn. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be a battle, and
Yeah.
honestly don't know how the game's gonna go. I'm just one of those. It's like a litmus test game to see where we really are as a team
Agreed.
and where we're gonna
Agreed.
go. The rest of the season.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a game where like it's a win or a loss isn't necessarily the indicator of how good Alabama is, but it's more of a how do they play? Because you can lose a close game to Auburn and no one's going to fault you for that at all. I mean,
Even
Auburn
if you
is
lose this game standings wise, now I think for us, as far as if you want to win the regular season, you can't lose this game just because our schedule is
right.
probably the toughest in the country the rest of the way, but especially compared to Auburn's the rest of the way, that you can't lose this game.
Agreed. But I will say, even if you look to last year, right, Alabama was ranked number 4 in the SEC and they lost on Friday. They lost their very first game in the SEC tournament and they still went and made a Final Four run. That's just how
Right.
good I think the SEC is to where, like, obviously you want to be the top seed in the SEC, but I think when it comes to March and past the SEC tournament, the standings of how you are in the SEC tournament isn't going to matter too much. I think we're going to get a potentially record breaking amount of number of teams in the SEC in March Madness this year. And I think there's no doubt that Alabama is going to
Oh,
be one of those
you
teams.
look at
And
bracketology
obviously,
right now. I mean, bracketology, I think they've got 14 SEC teams in right now.
that's crazy.
Because
I
I
mean,
mean,
that's,
Arkansas has been on a run since Calipari went to Lexington and schooled Kentucky. Got a little revenge there. Right
yeah,
now, they've got 13 projected in.
right.
16 in a 16 team conference. Like that is you even look at what like Wednesday is going to be in the SEC tournament.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Yeah. Let's talk about the
those are the
tournament, man.
those are going to be tournament
What you
games.
got? What you got going on the week of the SEC tournament? You doing anything special that week?
Well, I'm working with the Sports Council, which is in part they're in joint with the National Sports Council, which SEC tournaments in Nashville, and so they're going to be involved with helping run stuff in the tournament, and so we'll be doing
Yeah.
a lot of operational stuff during the tournament. We'll be
Yep.
doing ball crew, which you and I will be a part of again this year, which is really cool
Yep.
because you get to be, courtside. You get to be on the court during the game. You get to talk
Yeah.
to the refs. You get to kind of sneak into the huddle. I know a couple people from past years that really tried to sneak into the huddle. We won't name names.
I'm gonna have to walk a fine line, and yeah, I could probably guess who you're talking about.
Yeah, yeah, we'll save that for a later.
but but yeah,
But no,
a
it's
little
just
bit
going to be 5 days of just watching the best conference in college basketball just beat each other up until they crown a champion. And like I said, from Wednesday on, I mean, Georgia's projected to play Wednesday, Arkansas is Wednesday. I
yeah,
know that there's still a chance Tennessee or Kentucky could play on Wednesday, and then you just go on
crazy.
from there, and like it's gonna be amazing games just day in and day out. And
hmm
you go back to, does it long run, does it really matter just because of how many of these teams are getting into the dance? I think it mainly matters for those teams that are playing Wednesday, Thursday. You look at the Vanderbilts, you look at
Agreed.
the Arkansas, the Georgias, just to solidify their spot to getting in.
Right. And it'll affect their seeding in March Madness too. Because obviously, if you can play like a 16-15 when it comes to the big dance, then that's ideal. Because once you start getting into those 13, 12, 11 seeds, those teams can win those games like
Well, even at the
easily.
top, even at the top too. Say Alabama does what they did last year, and they lose first game on Friday, and then they're battling with an Auburn or a Florida, and they run the table and they win the SEC. That could be the difference in
Correct.
Alabama getting a 1 seed in the Midwest region or getting a 2 seed somewhere else. You know?
Yeah. Like we lost in the first round or their first game in the SEC tournament last year. We were
Zags.
fourth in the SEC and we got seeded fourth in the tournament. Like obviously you would rather play a 16-15 seed as opposed to a 13. I know that doesn't seem like a huge difference, but those 13 seed teams can be some good teams sometimes. I'm not saying the upsets can't happen, but
Oh,
it's
any
not it's
upset can
not
happen in this
it,
tournament, man. I mean, I go to MTSU. MTSU can make it as a 13 seed, and I feel like that I thoroughly believe they could shock somebody,
make a
or
lot. Yeah.
someone else in the Conference USA could shock somebody. That's just the way
Yeah.
this tournament is. The way NIL is now in college basketball, there's so much parity
Mm-hmm.
that it's been like this before NIL, because March Madness is March Madness, but you just never know any given game what could happen.
Yeah, and yeah, like you said, NIL just made it that much more interesting. But yeah, a little bit of a backstory. So, Zachary got put in touch with someone last year to help with the ball crew, and he came down to Tuscaloosa for was it the Bama Kentucky game? Is that the
It
game
was
we talked
Bama,
about it?
Mississippi State.
Bama Mississippi State, and he was
Hmm.
telling me about it, and he was like, "Yeah, we're looking for an extra person for Wednesday and Thursday," and I kind of like half jokingly said, "I'll take it." And Zachary was like, "Are you serious? Because like I can put you in touch with the guy." And I was like,
Very quickly.
"Absolutely, I will." And
Yeah.
then yeah, like a week later, I got reached out to, and so I joined Zachary for the Wednesday night session along with Thursday morning and night sessions. For those who don't know, which if you're listening to this podcast, you probably should know,
We've
the
already
SEC
talked about it once, but yeah,
the
let's
SEC
go.
tournament is broken up into different sessions. So in past years, Wednesday night has gotten one session, and then two or not Tuesday, Thursday and Friday they get two different sessions. Saturday you get down to one session because there's only two games, and then Sunday you have the championship.
Hmm.
Um, so Zachary was there for the entire tournament last year. I was only there for Wednesday, Thursday, and turns out we both got brought back. Like he said, he got an internship with them, so he's obviously taking on a bigger role.
I
And then
mean,
I'm getting to
Bob,
do the entire week this week, so we'll be there Thursday or not Thursday, Wednesday morning because of the teams added to the SEC. Wednesday has become a 2 session day, and so we'll be there throughout the whole week. So yeah,
you're gonna get
if you're
12
listening to
games.
this
You're gonna
podcast,
get
you are
12 games in 3 days, and it is going to be a test of will.
it's good, bro. Like I was talking to my mom, and she was like, "You need to like get on a workout plan for this." And I was like, "You're probably not wrong. I'm actually like thinking about it. Like I'm trying to go on run. Like I'm trying to get in good shape because I know that like that's gonna be tiring. So
Yeah, your legs are gonna definitely feel it.
I need to see if I can sneak in some energy drinks into that little back area because
Yeah,
that
well,
would
all I know is the already advice I've been given about this year, because I've got to come in even earlier because I'm dealing with ball crew, but there's other stuff I've got to deal with.
right.
Make sure it sounds stupid. You just got to make sure you actually eat, because you'll go the whole day without. Because you get there, I think last year the game started at noon, so you get there at 11 o'clock, and
Yep.
you're not leaving till at least 11 p.m. So you're at least there 12 hours, and then there's that fear of, oh my God, a game could go into overtime, or oh, a ref can turn it into a ref show, and you're at the free throw line for an extra
All
20
night.
minutes.
Yep. Yeah,
It could be a super long, especially I think when you this year, I feel like Thursday is going to be the long day because Friday is when you start getting into the really good matchups that you're living off adrenaline,
absolutely.
and then from there it's shorter days.
No,
But
Thursday last year dragged like for
yeah,
me. I mean, obviously you were
it's
there
going to
all week and
be
you would know better, but like yeah, Thursday dragged. But I'm excited. Like I know it's gonna be tiring, but like man, these are like opportunities to like. I mean, me and Zach are both going into the sports field, kind of different. Like I'm going into sports broadcasting. Zach, what's your like actual major that you're working on for
technically it's sports management,
sports
but
management? So
sports
kind of
industry.
different, but kind of both in the world of sports. So like opportunities like this, like we just cannot pass up. Obviously, his is much like better and higher. I mean, he's got an internship with the sports council, which is awesome. And I'm kind of just I'm doing the ball crew, which like it's really fun, but like it's just the opportunity to see people backstage that you would never get to see and just shake their hand and have conversation with them. And like even the guy last year, I remember we ran into like the voice of the Carolina Panthers or someone that wrote about the Carolina Panthers last year. Do you remember that guy, Zach? When we
Yeah,
talked to him, just guys like that, just soaking up knowledge and information. Like it just it's awesome. Like being a sports fan my whole life, like an opportunity like that, you just can't pass up. But yes, it's going to be exhausting.
it's going to be exhausting, but like I said, you're this is safe to say it's going to be the most anticipated SEC tournament probably
Yeah.
in history of the conference, which is definitely saying it's going to be the
Yeah.
hottest ticket in town. There, the amount of teams. I mean, you look 1 through 8 alone, and you're like, wow.
Yeah, stacked.
And
I mean,
it's going to be a
top 20
crapshoot.
teams in the
It's going
country
to be
you're
a
looking at.
crapshoot on who actually wins. And you could have a Cinderella where someone on Wednesday could win the whole thing. You never know. I mean,
Oh yeah. Yeah. Oh, for
the
sure.
Georgia's, you've got the Arkansas's. Vandy's been playing really good ball this year.
Oh yeah.
There's always Missouri kind of sneaking under the radar. Like there's so many teams in this conference.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. I mean, even a team like yeah, like you said, in Arkansas, at Georgia. I mean, they're looking. I mean, they're sitting at the lower spots, but man, I could see them easily making a run. Like,
I
there's
mean, you never
just
have no one's talking about A&M's a 4 seed right now. Ole Miss is a
and
five.
they're
Like no
yeah.
one's talking. You just don't know what's. Only thing that I can confirm is it won't be South Carolina. I can pretty much lock that in right now.
I don't know. Give me South Carolina. That's my prediction. How much? What? Where's the?
They're
What's the
they're
parlay
0
on
and
that?
11 right now, so you can take that. I'll let you have that.
They're 0-11, and then they're
Conference play.
10. They're 10-14 on the year. That's crazy. But like, look, like even this, like LSU is the 15 seed, and yet they're still 500 on the year.
Mm.
That's pretty good. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, Oklahoma is the 14 seed. They're 16-8. I mean,
and,
obviously
and
that's
Oklahoma right
non-conference,
now.
but that just
Oklahoma
shows
right
you.
now is a tournament team.
Yeah, I mean, that just shows you, in my opinion, they might be 3-8 and number 14 in the SEC, but the fact that they're 16-8 just shows me how tough the SEC is. Like, it's I don't know. Have you like me and my mom were talking about it, like outside of like the whole like actual details of like how the tournament's gonna work and stuff. Have you just kind of sat back and thought like, man, I'm about to work at probably the greatest SEC tournament of all time? Like, has that thought
Like
just gone through your
I'm
head?
looking at the standings like every other day to be like, oh wow, Mississippi State's ranked 22nd in the country right now, and they'd be the 9 seed. They'd be playing on Wednesday.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Kentucky slips. Kentucky will be on Wednesday, which that will be when you get that first Kentucky game, Sam. You didn't get to experience it.
I
Like
haven't experienced it.
it is something different. There's
Yeah.
something. I'm not the biggest Kentucky fan in the world. I think that's very well known, but I will give their fan base credit. They show up and show out, and Big Blue Nation
Absolutely.
is a real thing, and it is. It's why the SEC tournament used to be called, and some Kentucky fans still call it the Kentucky Invitational. It's not that anymore, but they come and
For the fan base it is.
they paint Nashville blue. They take over, and the game against A&M last year where they were, I mean, I want to say they were a 3 seed, maybe a 2 seed. Um, and their fans packed that place all the way to the brim. It was louder than playoff hockey games that I've been to in that building. Like it was just, it felt like a national championship game. And this is the quarterfinals of the SEC tournament. Like
Yeah.
it's just different. Then you throw in Tennessee, will be there. Auburn fans traveled really, really well last year, especially as the tournament went on. Like, there's going to be so many fans there, different fan bases there rooting for their teams. The talent's going to be off the wall. It's just going to be electric.
Have you thought about the idea of like whether Bama will have more or less fans than last year? Because I think that Bama's going to show up a little bit more this year.
Well, the thing with Bama last year is they had the last game on Friday.
Yeah.
They're not playing until at least 8. I want to say 8:30 is when they actually tip off.
Yeah.
Nashville is such a hub for everybody, really. Basically, I'd say
It's the
majority
perfect
of the
spot to host a
SEC.
tournament.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's going to be tougher for the Oklahomas and the Texases, but as far as everybody else, it's pretty drivable. I feel like last year the only fans that didn't really make their presence known was like Texas A&M or Missouri, the ones that really had to
Right.
travel out.
The only other place that I could see now adding those kind of teams that would remedy a little bit of that is like if you took it to like New Orleans, um, which would be a cool spot. But to me, Nashville is like, I don't know, something about it that just screams SEC basketball tournament. It's like historic. Like I remember one year they did it in St. Louis, and
Yeah.
I could not wrap around my head around like why. It made no sense to me.
Well, and it wouldn't shock me. There were years in the past, like we've been very fortunate. There were years in the past where they'd alternate from Atlanta, and not just Atlanta playing at the Hawks Arena. It'd be Atlanta playing at the Georgia Dome, which
Yeah,
is insane to think about. But
yeah,
they alternated from Atlanta. They played at the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans. They played it in St. Louis. You're right. They played it in, I think, Tampa. Um, there's just something different about Nashville. How all the fan bases can commute to it. That's different.
yeah.
I think also just the way Nashville is as a city, it's a walk-in city. Everything's everywhere. Everything's
Yeah. Oh,
easily
it's great. Yeah.
accessible. Um, it's a really fun town for fans to be like, oh, I want to come and travel to Nashville, and I can have, a super fun weekend. For
hmm
a lot of different reasons, Nashville's a fun town. I
Yeah.
do think because they're in a contract through, I think it's 2030, and then they have the chance to extend it to 2035, which if I'm the SEC, you would totally take that deal.
Right.
Um, it wouldn't shock me with the recent additions to the SEC if they moved it 1 year and put it in Dallas. Um,
That's so
just
far from for teams like Georgia and Bama like that. I just
Yeah, but it kind of do it for the Oklahomas and the Texases and the Texans. Right or wrong, I think it's the same reason they took it to St. Louis when Missouri joined the SEC. I think just to do it once, just to test the waters to see if it could be something, and then if it's not, okay, we'll keep it in Nashville. It's kind of like I think Nashville has become the spot in the last 10 years where Atlanta is with the football championship.
right. And
That
like
would be the
what like
spot.
you said about it being walkable and like you can kind of just camp there for the week and it's like you're not having to drive back and forth to the arena if you get a hotel downtown. Like places like Atlanta, that's hard to do because of how spread out Atlanta is. Like I didn't fully realize it, but I drove there the other week for you were there, the Hawks game. It is
Yeah.
such a spread out city. It's hard to like do what you do in Nashville and Atlanta. And then like you think about something like New Orleans where like I love New Orleans. It's a fun city, but like the cleanliness of it is like I don't know. There's just like Nashville's the perfect
I don't
mix.
know if the New Orleans is built for like a half
Yeah,
week
it's
long
not.
event. It's
It's
built
really
for a
not.
Super Bowl. It's a Super Bowl town for sure.
No, I don't think it could host like a week. And what I've heard about Dallas too is it's similar to Atlanta in the way it's super spread
Coast coast
out.
stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I have one of my closer friends who lives in Dallas, and he said that he pretty much has to take his car everywhere.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, that's. I mean, to me, Nashville's the perfect spot. You
Well,
might
and
test a few years here
Nashville's
and
just on
there.
a Nashville has shown in years past that they're able to handle events. You look at the NFL draft that was there in 2019. You looked at NHL All-Star games they've had there. You look at there's going to be when the new Titan Stadium gets built and done in a couple of years, there
Oh, they'll
will
be springing Super Bowls and
there'll be Super Bowls
WrestleManias and all
there.
kinds of stuff.
They'll be trying to bring Final Fours in there. They're going to try to push the SEC of, hey, you love the basketball tournament here. You should consider bringing the SEC championship here. Will they do that?
Absolutely.
I don't know, but it's definitely going to be a topic of conversation.
Yeah, and it like you said, it's a touristy city, which is why it's walkable and it's like it's not super like I mean it's a big city. Obviously, it has its crime issues, but I could list dozens of different big cities that are way worse than Nashville is,
Yeah.
and so that all mixed together is why you get the big events like the SEC tournament, the playoff games for NHL, like you said. I know WWE brought SummerSlam there one year. I mean, there's just big events being hosted in Nashville, and then the addition of the new stadium, like you said, is just going to make that bigger and bigger.
It's amazing seeing how much this place has grown in just the last 10 years, let alone since, when I was born, many, many years ago, because we're old. We get
Yeah,
that.
we are old.
It's when they just built the current Titan Stadium, and Nashville just got an NFL team and an NHL team, and it's just beginning. And now it's turned into one of the best mid-major cities in America and new stadium and hosting all these different events and everything. It's
Yeah.
incredible.
I'm excited, man. I think it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be a
I
fun.
think
It's gonna be
as
long. It's gonna
everything,
be a lot.
blood,
But
sweat, and tears going on that court.
yeah, no kid, no more blood. I can't do another injury like last year.
What if I just cut myself on accident? Like
You're
in,
cleaning. You're cleaning it up.
I might try.
I was
I
there when
don't know.
that Florida dude broke his leg last year, and I can't do
How
that.
did he break his leg and bleed?
Um,
Was it a open cut like how Kevin Ware was?
no, it wasn't like that. Let me.
Am I too loud by the way on my mic?
No, you're fine.
Okay.
All I know is he was going up for a rebound, and as he went down, he broke a bone in his lower left leg, and it was one of those where I think they were going back up the court, and he's
Ugh.
just down, and then the whole place goes silent. I still semi remember just seeing hit, not seeing the injury itself because they did a really good job of covering it up with towels and whatnot, but seeing his react because it was right where we are doing the ball crew is we're literally right underneath the basket.
So
And
it was on your end,
it was on my end. You could probably see me in the
the
YouTube
replay.
videos probably.
Yeah.
But he's just down and he's holding his leg, the whole arena goes silent. The doctors come out there and then he turns over, and as he turns over, you just see blood starting to spew out on the court.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was not it was I tried, and I'm usually not a very emotional guy, but you mix that in with it almost felt like a movie where that happens. The whole arena is dead silent. Like you could hear the custodians pushing the garbage cans. It was so quiet in that place.
Ugh.
You have his mom walking out to the court by herself in tears, the dad coming out on the court in tears, and it really felt like a terrible scene from a movie you're watching, and it's real life.
Yeah.
Um, it was just really tough to see. I mean, the guy's still was it Mike I forgot his name, but he big guy for Florida.
Yeah.
He's still not playing yet. And he was a really good center for him.
Oh yeah.
Um
Yeah. Can't deal with something like
and
that.
then you get to, not as important, but then like that happens and you realize you're on ball crew. It's like, oh, you're the ones that's got to clean that up. Like
So you had to clean the blood up.
uh, the higher ups took care of it, but in the heat of the moment, it's like, hey, which he didn't slip, which thank goodness he didn't slip because that's their biggest fear doing that job is he slips and they pan the camera on you and it's your fault. Like I watching Duke and Clemson last week and Cooper Flag slips on attempting a game winning shot because they didn't mop down the spot and they're panning over to the ball
Ball
crew
crew. Yeah,
Clemson
gosh,
and it's like,
can't have
oh,
that this year.
that's
And
a real
I feel
that's
like
a
it's gonna happen because of literally doing it Wednesday through Sunday. I feel like it's bound to happen to me at least once, but I hope not.
yeah, no, but
If they do pan to me, I'll do something stupid for the camera. I don't know, flip the bird or something. Who
I
knows?
mean, when we got to Saturday, I knew where the camera was, and I was making sure they knew I was paying attention. Um,
You knew where that photographer was too, because you were always front cover on Nashville Sports Council looking for new interns, and it's
I
just
still,
you
I
on the
still,
lawn.
I still get crap from that from the sports council to this day. They're gonna try to get more pictures this year.
Dude,
But apparently,
I
I'm
need
the,
a
I'm the cover
picture.
boy for volunteers.
I need a picture. I wasn't there long enough to get a picture. I need one this year.
I'll make a call. I'll make a call.
What are the sweatshirts looking like, by the way? I heard you say they were white.
Yeah, I mean they're not like the quarter zip. They're just white hoodies with a Nike patch and a SEC logo on it. And I believe you're getting shirts too.
I was about to say
Because I think
I had a bone to pick with them about this last year.
okay.
Those jackets were so heavy and it was so hot in there.
Dude,
Like
it's a hockey arena. No, it wasn't hot.
okay, maybe it wasn't hot, but I was sweating
Well,
with a heavy jacket on. Like I don't like.
it will give you the option to wear a t-shirt, I believe, this year.
Okay,
If I think that the option is you can wear one of the two.
I will most likely be in that t-shirt for the most part, but I'm glad that we have the option for both. That's pretty hype.
Yeah, so
Until I start sweating and then everyone can see through my shirt and see my nipples.
yeah, well, I mean that's must-see television right there.
That is must see. That's pay per view. That's not
Turning to
just must see.
Wednesday, the SEC tournament. We got Vanderbilt in South Carolina. You can also see Sam's nipples live on national. Well, not national. It's SEC Network live on regional television.
Hey, if we get the Saturday and Sunday, that sucker will be on national TV.
Oh, I already know it's gonna be you and me on Sunday. We're gonna be locked in. I've already made
Oh,
that call.
so we're together on you. You're that's
As far as I know, yeah. Because everybody else is gonna be our main boy. I'm not gonna name names on this podcast.
no, 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 no.
Our main boy that always does it.
The boy. Yeah,
Yeah, he's gonna do it, and somebody that's got connections with the higher ups is gonna do it, but he's already done it throughout the week, so like he'll know what he's doing.
right.
Um,
Yeah. By the time we get to Sunday, everyone will know what they're
perfect
doing.
world, yeah, it's you and me on one side, and we're just soaking it all in. If I haven't gotten fired by then,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or if I haven't gotten kicked out the arena by the
yeah,
boy.
so
But yeah, big SEC talk. Would you
yeah,
look
I
at there?
mean
Spent about 30,
it's the
40
best
minutes on that.
conference. I'm seeing if there's any other games real quick because I know everybody's talking about Alabama and Auburn on Saturday, but there's more games out there.
Take a look on the ESPN app.
Checking it as we speak. It's like, oh, casually, Mississippi State at Ole Miss, Egg Bowl of basketball. That's a good game. Kentucky at Texas would be pretty good. Um, Arkansas A&M could be a pretty good game. But yeah, I mean, the main event, Auburn, Alabama,
Heck yeah,
3
man.
o'clock, which I hate it's at 3 o'clock.
There's
That's
more games even outside the SEC that are stacked. I mean, Duke, Stanford. I mean,
man, Stanford.
Houston, Arizona. I mean, you got Wisconsin, Purdue. I mean, there's some good matchups this weekend.
Yeah,
This,
that's the thing. The interns at the sports council, they are Big Ten, ACC schools, and it's like they're like,
mm-hmm.
man, just so you know, like there's other games going on. I'm like, I'm watching
I
SEC. Like I
don't
literally
care.
spent all Tuesday night, like just I'm watching Kentucky, Tennessee, and then I'm watching Bama, Texas, with a hint of
Texas.
Vanderbilt, Auburn mixed in between.
Yeah.
So
Well, SEC talk, which is it's going to be exciting. I mean, next month or two,
all we
we'll
got's
figure out
hoops
who's the
now,
real
man.
deal.
Football's over, man. I got to lock in on hoops.
Lock in on basketball. Well, speaking of football, that's a good transition.
I knew what I was doing there.
Let's talk about the Super Bowl. What'd you think? I was half watching, half trying to watch film for a basketball game that we were prepping for on Monday night. What'd you
Yeah.
think, man? I
Um.
going into the game, like my thought was the Eagles are the better team. Like that's what my head kept saying, but like my head also kept saying like it's the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. Like you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
So
my thought going is I wavered back and forth, and I didn't make a prediction until Sunday. I was leaning Eagles, but I didn't feel confident in that. More so, I've always got the theory about like QB head coach combination, and I'm like, it's hard to go up against Andy Reid and
in
Mahomes,
Mahomes, right?
Jalen and Nick Sirianni.
Mm-hmm.
Now, but you look at roster to roster, it's not close. The Eagles,
No,
the
Eagles are
roster,
much better.
they showed it on Sunday. Obviously shocked, not surprised that they won, shocked with the result of how they won.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, they laid out it was very similar to the blueprint that Tampa did in the Super Bowl, back in 2021, where they were able to get pressure with just their four pass rushers. They didn't have to blitz
Yeah.
Mahomes.
No,
They
Mahomes had a sketchy night.
It was a very, it was the worst performance of his career. And
I'd agree with that.
the garbage time saved him. But no, he did not look good at all. It looks like Kelsey's done. It looks like
Yeah, I
he
mean,
played like that was his last game. He did not look
he did
like.
not look like he wanted to be there. And there was even clips of him like walking around with Taylor just before the
Mhm.
game. Like, and I know he's a professional, he can do whatever he wants, but like to me, night before the Super Bowl, like you're locking in. Like that's the biggest game of your career. And I know that there was a lot of guys on the Eagles who were locking in. They were like, this is our chance right here. Who knows if we get back to this game? I think like the three-peat is something you can chase, but to me, it's also a disadvantage because you're like, okay, this is casual for me. Like I've been here before, and I don't think that's the best mindset going into a Super Bowl. To me,
And
like
it,
you're treating it like it's the best, the biggest day of your life.
well, and it goes back to of yes, you can have arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time at quarterback.
Nah, it's team
Don't
sport
have.
though.
I mean, you look at the Eagles had the much better offensive line. Like Kansas City's had O line problems the entire year.
Hmm.
Uh,
Best running back in the NFL right now too.
Best running back is statistically the best season ever, which the Giants fans are still heartbroken over.
Hmm. Yeah. And
You
the
look
receiving core, man. I'd say the receiving
at
core is better
AJ, they
than
got
the Chiefs.
Devontae, even the tight end Goddard, it's solid. You look at the defensive pass rush they had, which that, like I said, that was the mismatches. The Chiefs struggles at O line versus how dominant the Eagles' defensive line is. Jalen
Yeah.
Carter and those boys, just fantastic. And it really goes to show, like, yes, you can have an elite quarterback. Like, yes, the Bengals have Joe Burrow, and yes, uh, Chiefs have
The
Mahomes.
Titans have Malik Willis.
Hey man, no, they don't have Malik Willis. He's conquered now,
Who is
and
y'all's quarterback?
that's what Levis right now. But
Oh yeah.
there's time to. Well, it changes my philosophy on, like, do you go and get the quarterback with the top pick, or do you just try to build the best overall team possible and take a Travis Hunter or take an Abdul Carter out of Penn State? Do you trade the pick altogether and just get as many different picks as you can possibly get?
To me, it really
Take a
depends
quarterback.
on who's available in the draft because like if you're in need of a quarterback, however, there's a generational talent at another position. Like you can maybe argue a Travis Hunter is.
They call it a blue chip player.
If if you like to me, you can't pass that up. To me, if there isn't a generational guy and everyone's about as good as each other, then obviously you take whatever position you need. But like sometimes you just got to go with whoever the best on the board is.
Right. And quarterback right now is if you put a gun to my head right now and tell me to pick quarterback, I'd probably pick Cam Ward over Shador.
I agree, especially in
Um,
Tennessee. But like, if you look at a team like Cleveland, you have the advantage of Shador playing in the cold. I know that's a dumb thing to say, but that's to me something that might actually really affect a quarterback.
I also think the Titans would never admit this, but I don't think they'd want to deal with all the extra. The Titans don't like a lot of national attention anyway.
Right.
And you throw Shador in the mix and what all the antics that would come with that, I just don't see them wanting to deal with all that comes with Shador.
Hear me
Uh,
out.
yeah.
Draft Travis Hunter and sign a Kirk Cousins. Sign a Jameis
Well,
Winston.
well, that's the question too, is what you end up doing in free agency. And it's really crazy that free agency comes first. Ironically enough, free agency is the same week as the SEC tournament. So that's going to be, just add that to
Oh
the
yeah,
mix.
that's right. We were in the car with each other last year when the Titans signed Calvin Ridley.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, Super Bowl, lock it in. I was wrong. Free agency doesn't mean everything, kids. Just so you
No,
know.
no, the
Um,
draft does.
yeah, you got to build through the draft. And
Mix
so,
of both, which is what not to completely switch sports, but that's what the Cavs have done, and that's what I've been thrilled about them doing. But anyways,
it's valid. I think it's, yeah, you've got to build through the draft. And it's just a matter of, can you in free agency get a bridge quarterback, and can you get a bridge quarterback at the right price? Like right now, the top free agent QB is going to be Sam Darnold. And do you really want to pay Sam Darnold $50 million a year? I don't think you do. But can you find like, I would love Jameis Winston in there.
I'm that's what I'm
Five to
sitting here
one.
thinking,
Just for
man. I
five
think
to
Jameis could
one.
be y'all's guy.
I would love nothing more than for him to be the bridge guy. And do you even take, I mean, this is a whole nother conversation. Do you trade back the pick, take an Abdul Carter or a Travis Hunter? Say you trade back to three with Cleveland or four or whatever. You take that blue chip guy, everybody takes their quarterbacks, and then you go back and late in the first round and you take a Jackson Dart or a Jalen Milrow or whoever. It's just, you've got a lot of different options when you have that number one pick. It's just a matter of what they're going to do with it.
Do you think Cleveland takes a quarterback in the first round? Because I'm not convinced that they do.
I it's obvious that Deshaun Watson signing him was a massive failure. And I know they're
Yeah,
still tied in on the money. I know there's talk with him re-injuring himself during rehab that they could potentially, like, not have to pay him. But I think you have to just, you've got to kill that situation. And yeah, I would take a quarterback if I was
who
Cleveland.
would
Just
you take?
not to.
Cam Ward, Shador Sanders.
I would take Cam Ward. There's something in the games I've watched. Everybody's talking about the Pop Tart Bowl and him quitting at the first half. But you look at that first half of the Pop Tart Bowl, he played really, really well. You look at
Yeah,
the when he played at Florida, he played really, really well. Does he make some errant throws? Yes, but you look at that Miami team and their defense was not very good. The only reason they stayed in games was because of Cam Ward. I think of them coming back and winning the game at Cal late Saturday night, middle of the year, and he put the team on his back, and they came back from down 17 points in the fourth quarter and won the game. And now you
here's
play with Shador, like, yes, there are line problems. He everywhere he's gone, he's been successful and played well. It's really tough to choose, but if, like I said, if you're putting a gun to my head and I had to pick one right now, I would personally just go Cam Ward.
I think Cam Ward's the more talented quarterback, slightly. But I will say about Shador, like you said, he's kind of been going like everywhere he's gone, he's succeeded, even though he hasn't been put in the best position. And what I
Right.
will say about him is I think he's the most accurate quarterback in the NFL draft. Like
Fair.
I think Cam Ward's arm is ridiculous. I think he could bullet a ball anywhere down the field he wants. But footage I've seen of both and training videos I've seen of both, and even them working out together, Shador's accuracy is insane. It's very, very, it's talent. And like
Right.
this,
It
that's
always
something
comes
to
back
come.
to though, if Cam Ward or Shador were in last year's draft, where would
Mm,
they go with the Caleb Williams and the Drake Mays and the Jaden Daniels? Like, I personally think they would go after those guys. My opinion.
yeah,
That makes me wonder about like, oh, is there a franchise
I
quarterback?
don't know. I
Like, are
would
they going in the Michael Penix, JJ McCarthy range? That's where I personally think they would go.
I I still hold strong that Daniels and Penix will be the two best quarterbacks that come out of this draft, the last year's draft.
I like Drake May. Oh,
Um,
Jane Daniels already proven enough. Jaden Daniels already proven.
no, I think Jaden Daniels is clear. I
No,
think Penix is going to prove a lot next year.
I didn't even talk about Bo Nix. Bo Nix quietly under the radar led his team to the
Gosh,
playoffs.
it's crazy how good last year's class was in terms of
Mhm.
quarterbacks.
Well, that also goes to show where if Brian Callahan, the Titans coach, if you know Sean Payton knew Bo Nix was his guy, if he
Right.
knows one of them's his guy,
Pull
take
the trigger on him.
yeah, and then build around him.
But okay, so outside of Shador and Cam, like who's next up in terms of that? Like, I mean, then to me, like you get to the Jackson Darts and the Jalen Milrose, but to me, they're second, third round quarterbacks.
Yeah, I definitely think they're day two guys. Nothing. It seems like Dart's the one that's getting all the draft hype right now. Will it stick? I don't know, but no, it's a two horse race at the top with Shador and with Cam. After that, you got to look at Dart, Milrow. There's talk with Quinn Ewers from Texas. There's talk of Kyle McCord at Syracuse being a day two guy. There's talk of Will Howard being, a day two, day three guy just from how well he played in the playoff.
And that's like,
But after that, I mean, that is really it. Dylan Gabriel after that's kind of where it starts to drop.
and that's why to me, like, if you're willing to bet on one of those second day guys, then you've got to take the generational talents that are in this draft class. Because to me, the guys like Travis Hunter, even Abdul Carter, like to me, those guys are special. And if you can take them while they're on the board, I think you take them. And if you need a quarterback, like I don't think taking a Jackson Dart or a Quinn Ewers or a Jalen Milrow is the end all be all, especially if you have a guy that you can let them develop under. Like if you're the Titans, like this is what I would do. I know you're way more of a Titans fan and
Yeah,
you
hit
would
me
know
with
way
give me
more.
your 1,000 foot view of what you think they
To
should do.
me, if you have Travis Hunter there, you take him. And to me, you sign a Kirk Cousins, a Jameis Winston, and let somebody like a Ewers or a Milrow sit under their tutelage for a year or two.
You with tutelage. I like that.
That's the route I would go instead of pulling the trigger on a starting quarterback right this second.
I am in a situation where I am okay if they think the QB is their guy, take the QB. I am okay
I
with
just
the
think that there's
situation
too many
of
QBs that have proven if they don't have the right team around them at a young age, it's hard for them to develop the right way.
yeah, like I said, it's different this year. Whereas like last year, everyone
Yes,
knew Caleb
exactly.
Williams
And
was the number
yes,
one guy.
with the
Everybody knew Luck was going to be the number. Everybody knew Lawrence was going to be the number one guy. And so, like I said, if they feel like one is their guy, that's fine. If they feel like they need to take a Hunter or a Carter, that's fine. In a perfect world, I'd love for them to trade back the pick to the Raiders and Shador. That has been, a love story that's been building for a year now. You could trade back with the
mm-hmm,
Raiders, get a haul for Shador.
mm-hmm.
Then from there you can move around. You can get because I mean we don't have a lot of draft picks and we've got a lot of pieces to fill.
Well, I think Cleveland's going to be looking to do a similar thing. Like I really think that the Browns and the Titans are in very similar boats right now. about what they want to do with their draft pick. Do you go with the generational talent, but at the same time, you need a quarterback? But I don't know. I know there's rumors about Kirk Cousins signing with the Browns, so that could potentially be a thing.
And
So,
good. There's been a
but
lot of rumors today. I mean, I've seen rumors today about the Jags trading Lawrence to Pittsburgh. Like,
Pittsburgh doesn't need another dang quarterback.
oh, both of their QBs are free agents.
You don't think they'll sign one?
They could, but you
I'd be
never
bringing
know.
Not Jane Daniels, Justin Fields back in a heartbeat.
Maybe, but I mean, he was their backup last year, and every time he comes in, it's a run or it's some. I don't know. They've been stuck in
Limbo.
mediocrity purgatory for the longest time, where they're gonna get 9 wins, they're gonna make the wild card game, they're gonna lose a wild card game, but they're not in a position to where they can move up and draft a quarterback.
If the Jags trade Trevor Lawrence, is this the return of Mac Daddy Jones? Dude,
Oh man,
it's
he,
happening. It's
he
happening.
no, it would be the Jaguars now have a bunch of picks to where
Yeah.
they can move up and take a quarterback that they love. But this is all hearsay. The Jaguars don't even have a GM yet. They're still interviewing GMs because what they did handling their head coach was a bleep show. I'm not gonna cuss on the show, but the way they kept their GM that's been there for 3 head coaches. NFL people lost it because the GM sucks, but the owner kept him around. Then they interviewed head coaches. The head coaches didn't want to go to Jacksonville because of the GM being there. So the owner finally realized they weren't going to get a good head coach. So they finally fired the GM so they could hire the new head coach, Liam Cohen. And now
That's
they're
true.
searching for a GM, and it's a laughing stock right now.
W Jaguars, man.
Yeah, I mean, they swept us this year. So
Yeah.
they got something going for them. They got Brian Thomas.
Okay. Along the lines of the NFL, um, what team do you think is going to plummet next year, and what team do you think is going to skyrocket?
Ooh, plummet. I like that.
Yeah, you like
Um,
that.
Plummet's a very tough word. A team that I already like on the rise, I really like Carolina.
Yeah, that's the first team that popped in my mind.
I
I think
really like
Carolina.
the way they ended the year. I think Bryce finally has some confidence. They're finally not in a spot where they're finally in a spot where they have some picks now because they traded their future for Bryce. And so you
Mm,
put him on a team with absolutely nothing. Now they can finally start to get some pieces around him. And I'm not saying, they're going to be the 1 seed or anything, but the way the NFC
I
South
think they
is,
very easily could, and this is coming from someone that likes the Falcons. I think the
yeah,
Panthers could easily make a push for that 1 seed.
if
Easily.
he plays like that, I think they could win the division.
It's hands down,
Because you got
hands
to look,
down.
Tampa lost a lot of their coaches. I mean, they lost their OC to Jacksonville.
Hmm.
I love Mike Evans. He's not getting any younger.
No, I
I think
mean,
the winner of that division's always, if you get to 9 wins, you win that division.
right, and
Uh,
that's kind of what the Bucks have been doing. It's not like they're amazing, but everyone else has been so mid. But I think that the Panthers are easily on the rise. I think the Falcons are going to keep getting better and better each year. Um, the less said about the Saints, the better right now.
yeah, I mean, they
Um,
just got a lot to figure out.
yeah.
They've
What
got a
about a
lot.
team that's gonna plummet a little bit? Who you thinking? I've got a team in mind.
If you got a team, hit me with a team.
I'm not saying plummet is they go to 3-14, but I think the Chiefs are gonna. I think they're gonna drop pretty significantly.
Well, yeah, they start to lose a lot of pieces now, and they're not getting any younger.
I
And
could see them easily going to a 8-9, 9-8 team.
yeah, it
And
goes back to schedule too, because their schedule
right.
this year. I mean, I'm not gonna say it was easy, but
It
like
was
they were
easy-ish,
playing.
and but like those teams are only getting better. Like you look at the Chargers taking hardball now, and Justin Herbert's just getting better and better each year. And then you have
Mhm.
a team like the Broncos. You got Bo Nix in that division now, and he's going to keep getting better and better. And then the Raiders obviously were the laughing stock of that division, but seeing what they might do
They
with
can
their
only go
pick,
up from here.
yeah, they're only going to go up. They might take a quarterback, so that division is just going to get tougher and tougher. And the Chiefs obviously not having those picks early on in the draft, and having guys like Kelsey who might retire. Juju is a wide receiver who's going to keep getting older. Mahomes is kind of at the peak of his career, so I'm not saying he's going to get significantly worse, but I don't think he's going to get any better necessarily than he
Yeah.
is now. To me, they're just not. There's no way for them to go up.
Well, another team. I don't disagree with that. I like that. First, first thought that popped in my head was Kansas City. If another team, I guess I'm sticking with the NFC. I think the Vikings will fall off this year.
Really?
Well, they played great. They lost 3 games and they lose first round of the playoffs and they're gone. They're going to lose Sam Darnold because they're not going to pay Sam Darnold that money. They're
Yeah.
putting all their money into JJ McCarthy, which is fine. Um, but
And it's a similar situation to the AFC West where like look at the other guys in their division. Like the
yeah,
Lions
I
are
mean,
the best of the best. Packers are going to keep getting better and better, and so are the
and the
Bears.
Bears are only going to go up.
The Bears might steal the division next year, in my opinion.
Right.
I mean, I
Now,
know that's a tough division, but
to be fair, the talk going into last year was Minnesota wasn't going to do anything. So I could be eating crow on this, but I just don't. Even if
no, but I get your
Sam
point.
Darnold, I think
Yeah,
people have figured out Sam Darnold, and I hate to say that was a flash in the pan, but I think
could
he was
be.
a really good quarterback coach, and they were able to disguise things well. And you're thrown to one of the best receivers of all time, and you got a really good defensive scheme with a defensive coordinator, and then
Hmm.
you watch film and teams figure that out, and I don't think it can be replicated.
Yeah,
So Minnesota,
fair.
I think the Patriots could do really well this year.
Agreed.
As
I
a
was
Titans
just
fan,
thinking
I
the
love
Patriots too.
Vrabel. I think Drake May is going to be really good. They have a ton of cap room. They've got draft. I mean, they've got the 4th pick. So you think of it being a QB draft, and they could sit there and have Travis Hunter fall into their lap.
Hmm.
Like the division. I mean, Buffalo's Buffalo. Miami, no one's terrified of Miami, and damn sure nobody's terrified of the Jets.
No, the
Now don't get me wrong,
Jets are going to tank even more,
The
even if
AFC is a different beast when you've got Josh Allen and Lamar and Joe Burrow and CJ Stroud and Will Levis and Patrick Mahomes. Like it's a very tough division. Um,
tough Will Levis game coming
I,
up.
oh well, or Cam Ward, whoever. But I don't know. I've got a good feeling about Drake May.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I would say the Chiefs are my team to plummet, and man, like to me, the Panthers are easily my team to skyrocket. Like just seeing what the division looks like, and like you said, Bryce Young keeps getting better. But to me, their offensive core is so young and so good.
Yeah,
They need to find someone to fill in for that Adam Thielen spot. But outside of that, you have Xavier Leggett, Jalen Coker, got a Chuba, who's a good young running back, but
she
also
was
if you can
good.
get Jonathan Brooks fully healthy, that's an amazing running back duo. And so to me, they're a powerhouse offensively in the next few years. To me, their only thing is defensively. Like you have JC Horn and people like that, but to me, you got to draft some more defensive
They've got to
players
get
and
some
really
defensive guys.
they got to start building that defense. But if they can do that, to me, they're a team to be reckoned with in the NFC in the next 5 years.
I agree. I agree. It's kind of
So
scary that we agree because that means like we're probably gonna get duped on that. But
yeah,
we'll
and
cross that
Bryce
bridge
is
when
going
we
to
get
tear his
there.
ACL or something.
Yeah, probably no in our luck.
No,
Hope not. Love
hope not.
Bryce.
Gosh, I love
Nobody hates
Bryce.
Bryce. If you hate Bryce Young, then you suck as a person.
Yeah, you definitely don't go to church if you hate Bryce Young.
Yeah. Amen.
What else we got to talk about? Let's talk about the NBA, man. What'd you think about the
The
deadline?
association.
What'd you
What
think
I
about
think
the
about
deadline?
what?
The trade deadline.
Trade deadline. Anything
NBA.
happens trade deadline?
Um,
Okay.
foreign guy got traded to the Lakers.
I thought that trade got rescinded. That's a joke. That's a joke. I was talking about the
DeAndre Hunter went to Cleveland, by the way.
yeah for Levert. What about Chris Levert?
Yeah, let's talk about it. Luka Doncic to the Los Angeles Lakers. Anthony Davis to the Mavs. Zach, you were the one that broke this news to me.
Yeah, sources told me first. I mean,
And we have
pirated
had
shams.
some crazy moments when it comes to sports, but man, I don't know if I've ever been as shocked. The only thing that might top it is when Kevin Durant signed with the Warriors.
Yeah, that's what I love about the NBA is you just have those like wow, what the bleep moments like this.
Yeah.
I feel like it's different than any other sport. Don't get me wrong, NFL free agency can get really fun, but it doesn't reach this. The only other thing, yes, KD's up there. The only other one where it was like a where were you win that I can associate it with a different sport is the where were you win Andrew Luck decided to like retire in the middle of the NFL preseason. That,
Hmm.
to me, that's the only other like whoa, because you're like, this is so
Yeah.
unexpected and so out of the ordinary. But here we are. The Lakers get what Lakers do what the Lakers always do when they somehow get another superstar because the NBA is rigged. Um, I'm kidding, but it just always seems like they get
So
whatever they want.
if you're a Mavs guy, I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying put
You're
yourself in those
depressed,
shoes. You're depressed, but like
but they're playing well.
how does this make your team better? Like, because I've been talking with my older brother Hamilton about it. He's a Mavericks fan,
Oh,
and
I'm sure he's
he
loving
keeps
it.
harping on the fact that this will make the Mavericks better for the next 3 years. And
I mean, there is
part
a
of me
win.
wants to
There's a window.
agree. Like, part of me wants to agree with that, but also part of me doesn't. Like, it's Luka Doncic. Like, I
Yes.
get it spaces your lineup a little bit. You got a certified big guy now, and that kind of frees Kyrie maybe up to do a little bit
But
more,
that's what it comes down
gets
to.
more guys
If you didn't
involved.
have Kyrie, then this is like, and
Well, obviously, but like,
I
yeah, I don't
understand
know.
having now you've got a guard and a big man duo versus you just had the two guards. But
Right.
you would have thought if that's the case, you would trade Kyrie for AD
I don't know
instead
if
of
the Lakers would have
Luka.
accepted
But
that trade.
probably not. But you never know. But I semi get it. I've heard a lot of people say that the Mavs are good for the short term. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think in the
I
end right now,
disagreed. I mean, they went to the NBA Finals last year.
yeah. I understand from the point that Luca was a defensive liability, and that's something that he's going to have to fix. But it doesn't make sense. That's something that doesn't get accepted in 2K. You know that trade.
Yeah, that's
Um,
literally that's the words that came out of Hamilton's mouth. He was screaming that you can't even trade Luca in 2K.
well, and you even look like they still need to go on a run here because they're still the 8th seed. Like they're in
Yeah,
the
and Anthony
tournament.
Davis just got put out for a few weeks.
Yeah, and I mean, you still got. I mean, the Suns. Who knows what happens with them? They're just a debacle right now. The Spurs making that De'Aaron Fox trade, like
Yeah, and
they
they're
could be
making a
making
push
moves.
easily.
Um,
The
I mean,
West is so
Lakers are
competitive, man.
fine. Will the Lakers win it all? I don't know because now they have no big men. Like
No, I strongly believe that neither of those teams make it out of the West. I don't even know if they make it to the Western Conference Finals, just because of how stacked the West is this year. I mean, obviously the Thunder are top dog, but I mean you still have Jokic lurking around. The Grizzlies are quietly in second place
and
in the
I'll tell
Western
you what,
Conference.
I might be buying in on that. What the Grizzlies are selling, I might be buying that stock.
Buying that crack, man.
Hey man, hey Memphis, Memphis. That
Yes, yes, boy.
they got a roster, man. It's not even just about Ja. It's not about Jaren Jackson,
Uh,
but I mean, they got across the board. You look at Desmond Bain, you look at Edie, you got my boy Gigi Jackson coming off the bench. You got
mm-hmm,
Kennard guard coming up, Scottie Pippen Jr. anchor down coming
mm,
off the bench. Like Jalen Wells as a rookie is playing phenomenal. That Aldama, whatever his name is, the big dude that can shoot threes.
mm-hmm.
Like
Santi Aldama. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I said. They've got like a full squad. Like you even look at Minnesota. Minnesota's good, like on the front lines of their roster, but then you look at the depth, and it's like, oh, this could be an issue. Like I don't know, man. Maybe I'm sipping too much on the Memphis tea, but I
Nah,
guess me
you're
being a
sipping
local
the same
boy.
Memphis
But like
tea of the I mean, gosh, that's how I've been with Cleveland, and like I've been excited knowing that this team eventually is going. For those who don't know, I'm a Cavs fan. I've been a Cavs
and
fan since
I don't have a team, but I filter through
he
different
filters. But I was a LeBron
casual, as the
bandwagon
kids
back in
would
the
say.
day, and I'll accept that. But when he went to the Lakers, I stayed a Cleveland fan for the heck of it, and gosh, has it paid off because this team is. There's a lot to like about this team. I mean, the starting five, they just made a trade for DeAndre Hunter, which
Wow.
was a really good trade because it just fills out their starting five so much cleaner. Because you'd always have Garland and Mitch, which, by the way, I was all in on the Sexton hype train, and you were telling me that the Garland pick was a good pick when I was
Hey man,
frustrated at it, and
Brentwood Academy,
you
right
were
down the road.
100% right. So
I was what?
you were right.
Hey man,
So I mean,
every
you got
dog has his
Garland,
day.
Garland and Mitchell at your 1 and 2, and then you have Mobley and Allen at your 4 and 5. But what
You
we've
can throw
done
whoever you can put
for
me in at small forward.
well,
That's
yeah, basically what we did at small forward for the last 2 years was put Zach Crutcher in there, and like you would basically have Struz, Levert, Okoro, Morel, kind of all filtering in and out of that spot. Now having a certified 3 starter in DeAndre Hunter and someone, not just a certified starter, someone we needed to, which was a lockdown defensive wing player. If we're going to beat the Celtics, we got to have somebody to put on Tatum, and that's our guy to put on Tatum. And that's what excited me about that trade. And then you look at our bench, man, like people like Ty Jerome been stepping up this year. Max Strus still playing good. Dean Wade, Tyson's been a pretty good pick. And then you have Okoro. Morel has been shooting the lights out. Like I love how young this team is, but yet how good they are. Like to me, they could be the team to beat for the next 5 years. And that's super exciting. And there's been talks about Donovan Mitchell not wanting to sign with Cleveland, but for the past year, I think I don't see him going anywhere now after seeing how good this team has become.
I have to ask the question.
Go for it.
Um, do you realistically think they can beat the Celtics?
I 100% do. I'm not saying they will, but I very much believe they can. Yes,
Because
yes.
again, it goes back to similar to what I said about Minnesota, which is like starting five, yes, they can compete with anybody in the NBA. But bench wise is where I'm kind of like, I don't know. Now, granted, again, I'm a casual. I don't watch Cavaliers basketball every night. But
The thing is,
if you're comparing their eight with the Celtics eight, you know what I mean?
yeah. What I will say is, I'm not worried about our bench players in terms of the guard position because Jerome, Struess, Tyson, Okoro, those guys have been playing amazing. What I am kind of worried about is the big man position because like after Allen and Mobley, which hot take, that is the best front court in basketball right now.
Mm.
Um,
Mm.
Thompson and Wade are next up after that, and they're not bad. But like the Celtics post doesn't scare me. Like Porzingis is good, but outside of that, like that,
He's
it doesn't
playing
scare me
well,
that much.
man. Unicorn's
I'm
playing well.
I I'm much I would be way more worried about and again, this is a hot take. I think we have a better chance at losing a series to the New York Knicks because of Karl Anthony Towns.
Interesting. Who
I don't
else?
know if I don't know if we would
Who?
be able to stop Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah.
But the
I don't know.
Celtics,
There's something about the Knicks where it's just like I don't know. Sometimes their
no,
score.
the Knicks are the Knicks. If they play the Hawks in the first round, uh-oh.
Yeah, no, that's fair. The Hawks got to get out of the play-in. The Hawks have been dipping a little bit. Uh,
Can you hear me now? Something happened.
I can hear you fine. Can you hear me?
Okay, I unplugged my headset for 5 seconds on accident, but
No, I mean
yeah.
I'm still more locked in on the Bucks than I am the Knicks.
Well, if the Knicks play the Hawks in the first round, they're screwed.
Yeah,
That's,
they can't keep up with that
but
pace.
yeah, no. Unbiased opinion, I really think the Cavs are the favorite in the East. I'm not saying they're going to, but how can they not be after the way they've been
Well,
playing?
I mean, until you beat the champs.
What have we done against the
I'm still
Celtics
taking
this year?
Boston. That's just me. That's not throwing shade or nothing. That's just my opinion.
No, 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 no.
Right now,
That's
to me, it is probably still Boston, Oklahoma City in the finals, and then if you got that next step below, I would take the Grizzlies and the Cavs, which ironically those are the top two seeds on the West. So I'm pretty chalk.
so. This is what excites me about a 7 game series with Cleveland and Boston. They've played 3 times this year. Celtics won by 7, Cavs won by 4, Celtics won by 3. Not one of those games has been a double digit deficit.
Hmm.
That's going to be a fun series if they match up. So,
Yeah, it will be.
I genuinely think we have the better roster, but I don't know if Donovan Mitchell can do what Tatum can do when it comes to crunch time. So, I think I
That's
think
an
we would
interesting
really
take.
have to
That's an
pour it on them.
interesting take because Jason
Yeah.
Tatum, man, hey,
What are you saying?
I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know. I just think Tatum has that clutch gene in him in the playoffs that I'm not
Yeah,
saying Donovan Mitchell doesn't. Donovan Mitchell just hasn't had the chance to prove it yet.
yeah,
So
that's
to me, there's just more unknown about Cleveland. Like to me, if you look at them team for team, they just to me they're a more raw, talented team. To me, they just have more talent on their team. But like the Celtics are
when
like the
they put it
Chiefs,
all
where it's like
together
when you get to the
when it's
Celtics in the
close enough.
playoffs, you know they're going to turn it up.
Right. And can the Cavaliers prove that?
Yeah, it's
That's the
gonna be
next
fun.
step.
I'm
It will
come
be.
April, May. It's gonna be a thriller, man.
Yeah. So when are we gonna talk hockey?
Dude, you could I don't know. When are we gonna talk about
Oh,
boxing?
USA won USA won 6-1. Wow.
I don't know. I don't know much about hockey. You
Yeah.
ask me a hockey question, I'll ask you a boxing question.
A hockey question?
What's a hockey question?
General hockey question
I
or
have
what?
no idea. Whatever you want to ask.
Um, okay, here's a hockey question for you. Can you, off the top of the dome, name 10 NHL teams?
The Predators, the Stars, the Panthers, the Um. Oh dear gosh. Um.
This is
The
great podcasting.
is it the Blackhawks?
Yeah, it's the Blackhawks.
Chicago Blackhawks?
It is.
The LA Kings.
Okay, you're halfway there.
Uh, New York has to have some team.
They've got a few.
The New York, gosh, uh, I'm stumped. I think.
You gonna stop at five?
Yeah,
I gave you
we'll talk
what if I
about
gave you a city like the Pittsburgh?
Penguins,
Yeah, the Montreal.
Quebec, Canada's.
You're close.
What,
You're
really?
really close.
Canadians?
Yeah, he knows the
Boston
Winnipeg.
Americans. What kind of dumb? Oh, sorry.
The Winnipeg.
This is one I should know.
Really? You should know what's going on in Winnipeg.
But like, I just feel like I've heard this team name before so many times.
The Washington.
Wizards.
Yeah. What's more? The Detroit.
Okay, off topic, but
Yes.
this is a story I just want to say really quickly, and we can go back to the question. But you'll get a kick out of this. So when we were at the Pistons and the Hawks game,
What a game. Done out in NBA history.
we went down to like the lower sections,
Wait,
and
you
there
did
was
too?
yeah, we did,
Oh, you should let me know. I was in the lower section too.
but there was a Pistons fan about six six seats down, and every possession she would do the classic, the one that you've always done. She would just scream, Detroit basketball, like as
Yeah.
loud as she could. I could not stop
I respect
laughing.
her.
Like, gosh, she was so annoying. It was so funny though. But
Man, we moved down fourth quarter. We moved down to the lower bowl, and I could see this. I could see this. They were doing dance cam, and I could see this girl was really dancing, really.
yeah,
Dancing. So
yeah.
I positioned myself to make sure I was in the proper sight lines of if she's on dance cam, I'm gonna be on dance cam, and I'm gonna look like I saw a ghost or something. And wouldn't you
Mm-hmm.
know, the last person they show on the dance cam was her, you know, shaking like a Polaroid picture, and me just standing there in shock and amazement. And we got the picture, we got the photo op. I was on the jumbotron. It was wonderful. And then they threw out T-shirts at the next time out, and I was with two other people, and they both got T-shirts, and I got left out, and I felt bad.
Poor guy.
I know,
That's not
tough
fair.
scene, tough scene. But
But
shout out Atlanta, what a great venue
yeah.
for a basketball game. Ah, ah, ah.
Oh,
Every time they hit a three, and they got that loud hawk screeching. Yeah, that was pretty good.
yeah, solid.
Well done. You've been
All
to a
right.
few games, you know
All right.
that.
I got a boxing question for you.
All
Can
right,
you name me two world champions current?
two current world champions.
Two current world champions.
Um, who the guy that beat the fat boy?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that counts.
Does it?
The guy that beat Tyson Fury, right?
He's a world champion. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tyson Fury's not a world champion right now, right?
Tyson Fury's not a world champion.
Um,
Neither is Deontay Wilder.
yeah, well, no, he's probably working at the university now. He might be working at the rec. Who knows?
He
Uh,
teaches the boxing club at UA.
yeah, yeah. The guy that beat Fury. That's one.
Alexander Usyk is his name.
That's what give me time. I would have said it.
Okay.
Um, Manny Pacquiao.
If you were a Talking with Shami subscriber, you would know this
Manny
question.
Pacquiao.
That is not correct. I
Don't
think
give me one of them Paul brothers. That don't count.
he's not a world champion.
Yeah, and he would never be. We'll have that debate. Mike
He
Tyson,
Mike Tyson is not a world champion.
but he's been one. That counts. Um, I have no clue.
I thought you were gonna say Canelo Alvarez.
Yeah, man, Canelo. He's like Lamelo's brother.
Canelo and Lamelo. Yeah.
Yeah, D'Angelo. I'm a swerve in the corner.
Corner, whoa.
All right, we can't see it anymore. We might get copyrighted.
Okay,
Canelo.
I saw something interesting on Instagram that this is a fun little question. I don't know how long have we been going for?
I have no idea.
It's fine, but
You, we
it's a fun
we got
question.
about 24% of my battery. So you
I want to hear your take on this.
okay?
Start bench cut.
Mm.
Bronny James Thanasis Antetokounmpo,
My guy.
LiAngelo Ball.
Um, I'm going to. I'm gonna start Bronny because that likely means LeBron's coming with him.
Let's say LeBron doesn't come with them. We're
Oh,
talking
see, now
pure
you're changing
talent.
the
We're just
narrative.
talking pure talent.
Oh, pure talent. Give me Giannis's brother.
Really?
Yeah, man. It ain't Leangelo. I'm Leangelo is getting cut.
I'm starting Jello.
Nah, man, nah. He don't have
Nah,
1 minute in the
Jello in high
playoffs.
school was
Nah, man.
amazing. Like, and he,
Bronny was like a top five. What are we
I
talking about?
get
He's a top
that,
five.
but also Jello was in the G League. I get it's the G League. I get that, but he was in the G League for the Hornets for about a year or two, and he was dropping some serious numbers.
Hey, man. Fair, I guess. But I'm sticking with my boys. Sticking with Braun. And Giannis's brother. I can't remember his name, but I'm sticking with him.
I think I would cut Thanasis Antetokounmpo.
Nah, man. He just gets so much hate. He didn't do nothing wrong.
I'd start Jello, bench Bronny, and cut Thanasis,
That's
and make Thon Maker my starting point guard.
yeah, well, Thon Maker's the greatest player of all time. We can have this debate, whenever you
And
want.
Easton Stick is the best quarterback of all time.
Yes. Yes, we will get into our folklore
Yeah,
amazing greatest players of all time.
yeah, literally. But I don't know. Any other topics? Been rolling for a while.
I know we've been going for a hot minute. That might
It's
be
been an
it.
hour plus.
I think that's it for now.
All right. Well,
I think that's it. Thank everybody for
thank
tuning
you for
in.
tuning in. I will try to get it all on like Apple, Spotify. I'll figure out a way to do that.
Wherever you
Definitely
get your
on YouTube.
podcast sold.
Um, if you're listening on my channel, I don't know when my next post will be. We'll figure it out probably in the next few days. If you're watching on Zach's channel, go
What's up,
watch
bro?
one of the football lives.
Yeah, educate
Um,
yourself.
and if you're listening
Learn
to
about Ocho Cinco.
the Hustle and Effort podcast channel, then we will upload probably next week at some point. As it every week sound somewhat doable.
Yeah, every week should work.
All right. Well, thank everybody for watching. We'll be back next week, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeet.
We out.